Hello, today Maria and I are going to be presenting our final project where we're going to be talking about the export process of Colombian cocoa to the United States. As a little overview of our presentation, we will first explain why we chose this product in this country. Second, we will talk about the appropriate HS code for our product and the one that we think best suits for this occasion. Third, we're going to be talking about the Global Competitiveness Index and the logistics performance indicators for both Colombia and the United States. Then we will talk about an overview of the infrastructure of both countries. And then we'll talk about the best mode of transportation for our product. Then we will consider some companies that can advise in the exporting processes and logistics processes. And finally, we will consider some national authorities that we need to take into account. First of all, we chose the cocoa because we already had an approach with this product in legal and export processes, which have led us to discover that this market is increasing potentially in the past few years, and it is also expected to grow at 5.89% annually. This is very related with the consumer trends where people are shifting towards more organic and healthier products, which include agricultural products. We also saw that Colombia has a very strong product as it has been considered by the International Cocoa Organization as one of the highest quality products. This has led to an increased demand of our country's products, and in 2022, the country exported in FOB $131 million. Now, from the US perspective, we chose this country for three main reasons. In the first place, the US is expected to be the most representative country for the cocoa market. Second, it is one of the most important Colombian trade partners. And third, in the cocoa market, the US is among the top five buyers of our country's products.
So now let's talk about the HS code. The HS code that best represents our product is the 1801, which means cocoa beans, whole or broken, raw or roasted. This code can be found under the foodstuff section, particularly the 18th chapter, which is dedicated to cocoa and cocoa preparations. We decided on the code for cocoa beans as is the most basic and versatile form of the product, allowing it to be used for multiple purposes.
Now, talking about the Global Competitive Index, we must consider that this measure covers how countries use their resources and how they're capable of ensuring that their populations have high levels of prosperity. This index is measured between a scale of 1 and 100, and as of the reports of 2019, the United States scored an 83.67 points, and Colombia scored 62.73 points.
So now talking about the Logistic Performance Index, first, according to the World Bank, in 2022, the United States had a score of 3.8 and had a position number 17 in the ranking. Also, we found a graph made by the International Scorecard page in which you can see the 6 indicators of this index, and every indicator is above 4. And also, the indicator that has the highest score is tracking and tracing, which means that the United States has the ability to track and trace consignments. On the other hand, we found that Colombia, also according to the World Bank, in 2022, scored 2.9 in the LPI index, which makes it the 66th country in the LPI ranking. Also, in the graphic made by the International Scorecard page, we found that the six indicators are above 2 and below 4. Compared to the United States, all the indicators are lower. But the indicator that has the highest score is timeless, which means that the country has the ability of timeless of shipments in reaching destinations within the scheduled or expected delivery time. Then we found this table in the page Analdex, in which we can find the United States and also Colombia. And we found that Colombia and the United States downgraded to a lower position in 2022 compared to 2018. Now talking about the country infrastructure in terms of maritime, air, and land transportation is crucial as it allows companies to better understand the possible internal and external dynamics of the country, plan distribution routes, consider expansion plans, and create strategies to approach customers. Taking into account Colombia's infrastructure, the country is experiencing a big wave of development, as recent administrations have allocated great resources to the development of new construction, leading to an improvement of the national transportation system. Among the most important preview projects for the upcoming years, we can highlight Bogota's metro, El Dorado airport expansion, Antioquia's railroad, and Magdalena River navigability. Due to its geographical position between the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, Colombia transports most of its internal goods through maritime means. making its ports some of the most important in the region. According to iContainers, these ports have facilitated trade and commerce with North America and other Pacific based countries, as well as South American counterparts. Among the top ports we find, the first one is the Barranquilla port on the banks of the Magdalena River. It has an important bulk facility and two storage tanks. It is operated by the Sociedad Portuaria Regional de Barranquilla and several private terminals. Then we found the Cartagena port that allows both general cargo and passenger vessels and is well protected from the wind due to its deep water condition and weak currents. And lastly, we found the Buenaventura port that is situated in the Pacific and has direct access to commercial routes with Asia. Now, considering the US, it's important to mention that the country is going through important drawbacks as most of its infrastructure was built decades ago and it is no longer enough to carry out the country's economic and population growth. It is said, for example, that airport delays caused by traffic and congestion imply big losses annually for companies. Experts affirm that the country is facing an important investment gap needed to expand the infrastructure and improve the state of many airports, roads, and railroads. As of 2021, Congress approved an important investment that will seek to boost the country's network towards an enhancement of the country's competitiveness. It is said that investing in both new infrastructure and current maintenance will stimulate the economy.
Now, considering the most appropriate modes of transportation, it's important because it can make the difference between properly exporting the product toward the desired market or having a damaged product. For the cocoa beans case, it can be transported by ship, road, or railroad. Air mode transportation is not very suggested as the cocoa it's a very um, sensitive product and it can be hardly damaged as it can absorb the humidity from the air. So it can go bad pretty easily. In terms of the most appropriate container, two types of containers are suggested. First, it can be used as a bagged cargo to separate like all the beans and to protect them. And the second way can be a bulk cargo using liner bags also to protect the product. The cocoa beans are also transported in the so-called coffee containers. This is because the cocoa beans and the coffee beans are have very similar characteristics and it's like the best way to protect the product. Now, as I mentioned, it is a very sensitive product. You need to ensure that the container is ventilated, clean, and dry, also to avoid any damages on the product. And finally, the container must keep a water level of 12% to avoid any issues with the product.
At the moment of exporting from Colombia to the United States, it is crucial to consider companies that may help to facilitate the process. When the product is to be shipped out of the country, several companies can help with this. The first one that we found is Alcolsex, a Colombia logistic company that provides integral consultancy services in foreign trade. It focuses on giving strategic advice on all aspects of foreign trade, from supply chain optimization and risk management to understanding custom regulations and expanding into new global markets. Then we found the Navisaf, a cargo and freight company. Its purpose is to help clients to improve their efficiency and productivity indicators. It has technological DNA and extensive knowledge in information management, backed by the most recognized engine and truck factories in the world. And the last one is TCC, that is a Colombian logistic and supply chain company. It is an expert in giving tranquility and confidence to its customers with responsibility and consistency. It gives innovative logistic solution in the supply chain.
Finally, it's important to take into account all the national authorities that can play an important role in this process, as we need to differentiate them from the ones who act in Colombia as the country of origin and the US as the country of destination. These authorities are important because they are the ones who establish all the legal guidelines. They are the ones who revise that the product complies with all the standard regulations. They are the ones who allow the entrance and exit of products, and also the ones who look after all the procedures. So first of all, from the Colombian perspective, we have FECACAO, which is the Federación Colombiana de Cacaoteros. It's an association that is in charge of looking after all the interests of the cocoa producers, and it also follows all the commercialization, transportation, and exporting processes. Second, we have ANALDEX, which is the Asociación Nacional de Comercio Exterior. This private entity is in charge of promoting and strengthening all international commerce activities in the country. Third, we have the Instituto Colombiano Agropecuario, which is in charge of ensuring that all products are safe and to avoid any pests or diseases in agricultural products. And then we have the Dirección de Impuestos y Aduanas Nacionales, which has two main roles. First is the one to looks after all the import and export zones, as well as the free trade zones. It also is the one where you have to register as your registro único tributario in order to be allowed to export from Colombia. Then we have the Consejo Superior de Comercio Exterior. It's a governmental agency that suggests customs and tariff policies, and it's also in charge of promoting projects that enhance the country's export activities. Then we have customs agents. It's important to notice that these agents are part of both the importing and exporting country, and they are basically in charge of the customs clearance processes. Finally, talking from the US perspective, there are three main agencies to take into account. So first is the CBP, which is the Customs and Border Protection. It's a national entity that ensures that all products comply with the law and all the particular requirements. It also is the one who issues import permits and licenses. And alongside the trade office is the one that safeguards that all products are safe and that none of them are going to be harmful for customers. Then we have the Animal Health and Plant Services, which is part of the U.S. Department of Agriculture. The agency, through the Plant Protection Act, is the one in charge of safeguarding that all the U.S. resources are safe and that none of the imported products are going to be harmful for the national safety. Then, and finally, have the AMS, which is the Agricultural Marketing Service. It's also part of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and by means of the Specialty Crops program, some agricultural products can go through more detailed inspection processes in order to ensure that they have high quality standards and also to ensure that local companies are competing under equal conditions with the international companies. So that was everything for our presentation. Thank you.